Hey guys, this is Momo and Andy Irvine on Basslines and Lifelines. This is where the bassline keeps the groove and your health keeps you freaking alive. So today's question is about sleep, recovery, and performance. Why rest is your secret weapon, and how the proper rest impacts your creativity, your muscle memory, and your stage stamina. So let's talk about that. I used to be one of those guys that we had in a conversation that I used to be able to only sleep like 2 or 3 hours and keep going. And I realized, when I get at least a good 8 hours sleep, what happens is I wake up and my stomach is so flat and I feel so good and so creative, and you seem to think when you're younger, I don't really need to sleep. But it really is a fantastic thing. I believe that sleep, the bed that you sleep in too, that's the other thing. I invested quite a bit of money in a really nice mattress that every time I get into it, every time I say the same thing. Oh my God, I love my bed and I love my pillows. Like for real. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they don't want to invest into their bed. I like my mattress costs like $5,000 just for the freaking mattress. So it took me a long time before I did that because I used to buy these like $500 mattresses. I'm not trying to sound like a pompous asshole or anything like that. But what happens is you're sleeping 25% of your life, right? And you might as well sleep good, considering that 25% of your life is owned by the mattress you sleep in, right? I used to have springs like fucking stick in my head, these hide-a-beds with a fucking bar taking out my fucking, one of my vertebrae, you know what I mean? And uneven shit and stuff. And I love sleeping in my bed, and I love sleeping at least for 8 hours. Like I need 8 hours sleep to make me happy. And then you need to be efficient so that you don't feel like you're missing out on shit, right? So, that's for me, the bed and the pillow for me is fucking everything. You owe it to yourself like you owe yourself a good pair of shoes, and you owe yourself a good chair if you're sitting in the fucking chair all day long working. Those are the three things that I think have got to do with rest and recovery. What about you, my friend?
Well, my sleep habits used to be horrible. Especially when I was like living the rock and roll lifestyle, partying and everything, because you would finish the show and then you'd go to the after party or whatever. You'd start partying after the show. Well, that would be in the middle of the night. You'd be up till 6 a.m. partying. That was a long, long time ago. But when I started going through a health transition and I was intermittent fasting and I was losing weight and I was changing what I was eating, I got in the habit of not eating anything after 6 p.m. and then not eating until the middle of the morning, so I had this big, long stretch of time. And what I realized was that trying not to eat after 6 o'clock if you stay up late is really, really hard. So I started going to bed at 9 because it's like in terms of fasting, when you're asleep, you're losing weight. And it's money in the bank because you're not thinking. You're asleep. You don't have to be thinking about the choices. You're like automatically losing weight without having to be disciplined about it. So those are like really quality fasting hours when you're sleeping. And they're very productive. So I was like getting up and waking up and getting on the scale and losing weight while I was sleeping. Anyway, I started going to bed at 9. And then I was up at 5. That freed up this time between like 5 and 7 where I would like get up and stretch and go for walks and do all this stuff. And before most of the world is even coming to life, I've already gone for a walk, had my coffee, stretched, checked my emails and done all this stuff. So it just changed my whole trajectory of my productivity in my life by going to bed earlier and getting up earlier. And then being highly productive in those first couple hours where it's real quiet. There's nothing else going on. The world hasn't started moving yet. So there's nothing to really get in the way of the things that I like to do early, I light a couple candles, I drink my coffee, I stretch out on the floor, I pet the dog, put on my sneakers, go for a walk, do all this stuff. This is all done before 6:30, quarter to 7 in the morning. I'm done.
Ahead of the game, my friend.
I've been married 20 years, and we had a pretty good bed for a lot of those years. But like I think it's been about 6 years ago, we spent a lot of money and got a really, really good one, and along the same price range that you were just talking about. And I literally, like you, every time I climb in, my head is like just touching the pillow and I'm asleep. I don't lay there in bed stressing and thinking and my mind racing. It's like when I go down and I stay down until I get up.
I love my bed, like to the point of, and shoes too, eh? It's another thing. Like, you really need to find the right shoes. Just because they look cool, it doesn't mean, but there's really something to be said, like the bed, like I said, the shoes and the chair. I got some fucking chairs that I sit in, like the one that's in Prila's office. It's called the Capisco. It's like a saddle chair that you can sit on in 4 different ways, and even sit on it backwards where the backrest is like holding you up like this, right? And I got to tell you, when you're sitting here programming and doing shit all day long, when your spine takes the beating and all of a sudden, you're getting the carpal tunnel and you're getting all this shit, you're saying, you know what I mean?
I like cowboy boots, and there's a big difference between $175 Chinese cowboy boots and $950 handmade Lucchese cowboy boots. They're way, way, way more comfortable, and
Absolutely.
For 10 hours a day and your feet don't hurt, so you get what you pay for when it comes to footwear and sleeping arrangements. You get what you pay for.
There you go, guys. So you heard it right here from the mouth of Bass Experience, Basslines and Lifelines. My buddy Andy Irvine. My name is Momo. You guys totally freaking rule.